Week 2 Sri Lanka training is underway. This week the wife is away on a retreat. So my first session of today, so just a heads up, it's Thursday. First session of today is now happening. Very simple, 35 minutes steady state. Later on you're gonna see session number 2. We're also gonna have a nice chat about cadence and running efficiency, because something that I was doing a session specifically around this with my friend Josh the other day, and it just made something click or become a little bit more important. I've kind of always known about cadence and running efficiency and stuff like that and gone, don't run that often, so I don't need to worry about it. This absolute game changer. There's lots of boxes in here because we were supposed to be moving. Fell through this week. Yay! But running's good for the head as well. Music's still going. Side note, these socks, so we are now sponsored by the guys over at Venture. They're the ones who made our original TLM coffee poo snack socks. I've got 3 pairs of these at the moment, and they're swiftly becoming my favorite socks to run in. Very cushioned, nice heel wedge, a nice little stretchy tight part around the midfoot and arch. Big fan. I'll put a link in the description as well, so you can get yourself some. Also, all of my sessions are now polar strap, because every single session is all about heart rate zones. So I do 7 runs a week at the moment, 2 of which are interval based, the rest are all about heart rate zones, always zone 2, zone 3. You'll know from most people who run to improve in your running, it's not all about running fast and as hard as you can all the time. So zone 2 for me, it's around a 135 to a 145 BPM. Very, very easy. It's what we call like a conversational pace. So I will give you a classic example of that, because as soon as I've finished, I'll jump off. 35 minutes of running, probably about 45 by that point, and I'll pick the camera up, we'll have a little chat, and you'll see where I'm at. It's a nice little place. So heart rate strap on, it connects to my watch. This was a great gift actually. Thank you very much to the guys over at Polar. This is the Grit X Pro. It's incredible. So I've synced my strap to my watch because I personally trust heart rate a lot more from the straps. I think they're a lot more reliable or trustworthy than any other piece of tech. So strap it to that, record my workout on the watch. As soon as I press save on the watch, which is really, I like tech, it then syncs through to my coaching app. So all of my programming is coming from the guys over at Kings of the Wild Frontier, and it's Sam specifically who looks after me, and he programs everything through something called Training Peaks. So my session, all my details, average heart rates, distance, total workout time, all syncs directly to my calendar in today's session slot. So it shows everything. It's really, really cool, like it. But anyway, I can't run all this time whilst holding the camera. Whew. So there we have it. 5-minute warm up, 40 minutes in total, so it's 35 minutes. Zone 2, I sit around 140 to 145 average heart rate on that one. My speed's slowly climbing, which is really nice, which means I'm obviously getting fitter. So normally sit about 10.2 kph, but today 10.8, felt absolutely fine. So this is normally how I'd feel at the end of one of these sessions. Cadence, right. Like I say, something, obviously as a coach, I've always been aware of cadence and everything like that. Basically, the amount of steps that you take per minute, right? But because I've never really ran competitively, it's never really stopped me getting faster and that kind of stuff. For the short runs that I'd normally do, 5 or 10K, never really paid too much attention. I always had that worry that it was going to affect my technique too much. I'm gonna show you how I ran before my session that I did with Josh last week, and then I'm going to show you a short clip of how I run now, and then I'm going to explain, which to be honest, these videos in themselves will probably explain themselves, but if you're somebody who, it doesn't matter what level you're at with running, if you just improve your cadence, i.e. up your step rate in a measurable way, it's going to help your efficiency with running massively, your recovery rate and energy expenditure in sessions massively, and also reduce the risk of injuries and niggles and tweaks. So here's before. And here's now. So without me even saying anything, you can just hear the difference in terms of the amount of impact through each step from before to after. Just bear in mind that was exactly the same speed on the treadmill. This is where it's really good to do it on a treadmill because you haven't got that, am I just trying to run faster or slower? It's about running more efficiently at the same speed, saving more energy, right? So if you look at the clips again, you'll notice that in that before track, what I'm essentially doing is propelling out of my step, landing almost with a heel or just slightly into the back end of the midfoot. And what you're doing is essentially braking and dragging, braking and dragging. Think of that step rotation as an oval, right? When you're running with a really open stride and falling forward, what tends to happen is your torso leans more, adding to that impact. You're hitting your step onto the floor, you're making contact at that really aggressive arc point where you then have to drag it back round. What you want to be thinking when you're running is you're catching the step as it's already starting to rotate out, right? So you'll see when I've upped the cadence a little bit, there's more leg drive, the chest is taller, the breath's more available essentially when I'm running. That step, I'm not catching that step forward and dragging it back, i.e. having more contact time as well, which again, more impact, more energy. I'm catching it as that foot's already coming round. So the impact is much smaller, the shin angle's slightly different, and you're getting so much less of a shunting action, more of like, when people talk about running being in a flow state, you're catching that step on the way back rather than catching it forward and dragging, right? That's it in a nutshell. I probably could have done that so much better, but I just want to get through this nice and quickly for you. The main considerations, obviously, if you're taller or shorter, there's going to be a slight difference. Also as well, when people talk about the cadence ideal space, 160 to 180 steps per minute, that's at like an elite level, right? And it's not really adding too much context to the person. So what I would suggest is also as well, another thing, if you've got a watch or something like that that measures your cadence, you might look at it and go, oh, mine's saying like 65. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them measure just one side. So if it's 65, just double it. So your cadence is around the 130 mark, right? So just bear that in mind. If you want to know what your cadence is and you don't know, two options. Measure the amount of steps that you take in a normal run in 60 seconds. Easy, right? Even easier than that, just to give you an average, measure them in 10 seconds and then times it by 6, which would be the 60 seconds. Then it will give you a nice average. If that's your current run style and your cadence at the moment, all I would suggest is literally elevate it by 2 steps or 4 steps per 10 seconds, right? Something like that over the cross section of 60 seconds is going to make a hell of a lot of difference, because what tends to happen is you start to increase your step rate. It's not about taking really long strides. You start to shorten things. You focus more on leg drive, i.e. bringing your knees higher. And what happens when you bring your knees higher? Your chest has to lift up, your head comes up nice and straight. And what you'll start to appreciate is that stacking position, and the impact starts to go down a little bit. It's a lot more like trial and error. I'm still working mine perfectly, and mine adjusts depending on how long I'm running, what speed sections and intervals and that kind of stuff I'm doing. But I'm sitting quite nicely now between a 160 to a 174 kind of range on an average run day to day. You can get BPM tracks and stuff like that on Spotify or playlists that you can follow, which have like a dun 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 dun, like a metronomic kind of beat for you to follow. Some people use metronomes and stuff like that if they really want to get into it. Post run goods are coming out every single run now. One of these bad boys, these guys kindly send us these all the time. Enhanced recovery, omega 3s, protein. It's a bit like a yogurty drink, strawberry. It's really, really nice. I drink one of these every single time I've done a run. 250 odd calories, a decent amount of protein, and it tastes yummy. Even more important than cadence, if you're running multiple times, put your strap on the radiator, because no one wants to put a wet, sweaty strap on. Ooh, strap on. I've got about 10 minutes until JC gets here for a working day. So simple snack for me now, tin of tuna, 3 of these salt and vinegar rice cakes, and I'm gonna put a pinch of mayo in there. I'm also gonna get my favorite out and have some malt loaf, because why not? Which means I'll have a few less calories at lunch, but I don't care. Sorry, I get really excited about my first coffee of the day, especially now when it's 10:30. And I'd normally have one at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not allowing myself to have one until after my first run, so you're a little bit excited. We have smashed it. We've just done a really cool piece of content for Pure Sport. Do you want to show it? Or do you want to wait?
We can show it, don't mind.
Yes, that looks absolutely sick. This keyframe genius over here made that all happen with a couple of photos. JC has just gone home, and I think I'd already said to you, but just in case I hadn't, it's double run Thursday. So I've now got my second session. I think anyone would agree, it doesn't matter whether it's running, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's whatever, competitive chess. There's always days that you dread or that you just don't look forward to as much as the others. And I must admit, for me, currently, it's this second run session on a Thursday. Not only is it, you know, I've done one session Monday, 2 sessions Tuesday, and then another session. I'm 4 sessions into the week. This one is also a very hard one. So session detail looks like this. 2K run to warm up into 6 by 3 minute intervals at around 150 to 160 heart rate. It's going to be about a 16 kph, so basically 3 minutes at 16 kph, pardon me, and then a 2-minute walk down to bring my heart rate below 130, and then repeat times 6 into a 2K jog off. Yeah, this is head game time. So let's get warm. Let's get to it. All I've had pre-workout wise, nothing really in terms of like stimulant base. I've had a non-stim, which is a beta-alanine, which I always have as well. Nice little prickle without the caffeine hit. Because when it's like super heavy heart rate stuff, I'm very reluctant to have caffeine as like a pre-workout because I find it a lot harder to manage my heart rate. So non-stim based pre-workouts always come in at this point for me, especially being later on in the day as well. And then creatine is just something that I have every single day. So let's do it. This is a disciplined session. This is a consistency session. This is not a fun, oh, I love it, it's gonna be great. Really don't want to do it. But these are the ones where we grow, people. These are the ones where we grow. Let's go. First one done. It's gonna be a tough day in the office. Done. 6 rounds, 4 minutes on, 2 minutes off. Holding a 14.2 kph speed, which is about a 7-minute mile, it was saying, maybe a little bit less. Now 2-minute break, 2K run. Probably the longest stand in the world to be doing this. Yeah, that was hard today. Very hard. More than anything, it wasn't like the speeds were phenomenally fast. It was more the fact that you knew, like I'm not used to being somebody who runs, stops, runs, stops, runs, stops. Before this protocol, all I would do running wise would be like a 5 or a 10K. But again, like one of the things that Sam's trying to learn from me at the moment is heart rate recovery, which is one of the biggest signs of your fitness is how fast your heart rate's recovering. And also as well, the thing that we're trying to replicate is, over in Sri Lanka, you know, I'm not going to be running the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70K distances without stopping in the slightest or walking at any point, because you've got elevation changes, you've got water crosses, you've got the fact that you're shattered, and you've got checkpoints and all sorts of things to cover. So doing these kind of intervals, I get the feeling that they're going to progress. So they were 3 minutes last week, they're 4 minutes this week. Funny feeling they're going to be 5 minutes next week, and by the time I actually go out to Sri Lanka, more towards the 40, 50, 60 minutes, I would imagine, with a short break and then walk again. But yeah, good strength power session and good one for the head, because by no means did I enjoy that. I didn't want to do it, but now I get the reward of just about got enough time to bathe my legs before picking the little one up. Yes! Dinner tonight is 2 salmon fillets, a load of cooked carrot and pepper, which I left for like 10 to 15 minutes just to simmer to soften up. Something smart not to towards the leaning, and I'm going to chuck probably at least half of that bag of spinach in there. Also, I said I was going to pick Jax up, right? Parents, did any of your little ones, or do they go to nursery and they have like a progressive room scheme? So at our nursery, Jax originally started in what they call the caterpillar room until she was about 2.5, heading towards 3 years old. Then they moved to the butterfly room, right, which is basically preschool until they're about 4. About 2 months ago, Jax made that transition from the small room to the big room. So now she's trying to keep up with 4-year-old kids essentially all day long. Picked her up, she got in the car and just straight out all the way home. And then I brought her in, just started making dinner, and she walked up to me and she's like, Daddy, I need to go to bed. I'm very tired. And I was like, oh, okay. So it looks like a meal for one tonight. That's why you won't see her. She's literally just gone to bed, and that's why I'm being a little bit quiet. Bless her. She's absolutely exhausted. Big days for small humans. So I get this dinner down me, and I'm going to finish today with my every single day, every single evening foot care routine, which my wife absolutely loves. But I'll show you exactly what I use and why. So this is the kit that gets used every single night. This floss band goes around my quad to essentially just free up the IT band. It gets a little bit sticky sometimes, and it can kind of press a little bit against the quad. You get a little bit of pain above the knee. I use this. This was given to me by Sam, my physio guy who looks after me, and it's basically another way to just free it up and get it moving a little bit. You'll see like a little bit of shaking and rocking backwards and forwards. I just find it's really nice, and then it gets a nice injection of blood at the end. This peanut ball is absolutely amazing, as you can see, for getting under the arches of the feet. I spend about 3 to 4 minutes on each foot, really getting into those arches. Whether you knew this or not, maybe too much information. When I was younger, I had a condition on my feet. I suppose I've still got it, I guess, to a certain degree, which everyone called hammer toes. So my second toe, essentially, I'm going to show you. Second toe, as you can see, it still curls over a little bit, but it used to curl like that, which basically meant these next 3 toes would start to curl just the same. So they don't really sit forward. But I don't know if you can see, there's a scar on the tip of this toe here. So I got cut open in an operation, and then this bone was shaved down, and then they put this toe in a little cast to try and straighten it. Basically, if I didn't have the condition, or I didn't have it treated, my toes would have ended up all curling over, and I would have been in a wheelchair. So what my doctor or surgeon said. So every single night, I put these toe separators on, because I literally, look, I get like minimal separation to my toes. They're like jammed together. So put these on, leave them on for about an hour, hour and a half. And then, yes, I am sponsored by these guys. I always feel really like funny. It's really frustrating sometimes when you talk about a product that you absolutely love, but you're also sponsored by them. It can feel a little bit forced, but genuinely, like I said, before me and JC signed to Pure Sport, I was using this product, the CBD balm, muscle and joint balm, for about a year as a customer. So I absolutely love my calves and my arches and everything in that, and then get in there with the scraping tool that comes with it as well. And honestly, I've seen multiple people talk about this product, and also quite recently, I don't know if you know Will Gouge, but follow him if you don't. He's just done a 48 in 30 challenge, which was 48 marathons running in 30 days, like unbelievable. And he, amongst other products and stuff, the muscle and joint balm, he absolutely swore and swears by for just getting into his legs and breathing some life back into him. Honestly, like, my legs feel absolutely trashed now. I'll spend 10-15 minutes scraping away at them, getting some balm in, and I will be golden, ready for tomorrow's run. So honestly, I will put the link in the description box below. Use TLM20 as a code, you'll save a couple of quid. And if you went to Southeast Asia traveling before, and you had like tiger balm and stuff like that, you'd enjoy a little bit of nostalgia as well. So anyway, I'm going to get off, I'm going to do this stuff, and I'm probably actually going to have a glass of wine tonight and just chill out a little bit. Thank you all so much for coming along today. If there's more bits and pieces specifically you want me to show you with the run-in, any more questions, any more information that you'd like whatsoever, literally just pop a comment below and I'll come back to you. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.